How did you become the Doctor? Did you set out to be the Fourth Doctor?
No, no, I didn't set out to do anything.
How did you get the job?
Well, it just happened to me.
Audition?
Well, no, it just happened. I was in a film called The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, and they were recasting the Doctor, and the BBC producers went to see the film, you know, and then they saw me, and they took a flyer on me, you know. But they did see me in a special effects movie. Ray Harryhausen's The Golden Voyage of Sinbad.
So that whet their appetite?
Of course, yeah, and they saw that I was very familiar with working with monsters. And if you want to work with the BBC, you're just nowhere unless you can deal with monsters at every level. And so, naturally, I took to it.
You would do so well here as a permanent host. You would do so well. Anyway, and of course, including the infamous scarf. Missing the hat there, of course, though.
That's right, yeah. We often had to take the hat off for the, you know, because of the lighting. Hats are always a good idea.
BBC lighting, nightmare.
BBC lighting, night monsters. I mean, hideously bland.
Well, you look good there. You look good there.
Yeah, yeah.
That, of course, is Colin.
That's good, yeah.
Sylvester.
And that's Sylvester, yes, who used to work with Ken Campbell. He's a wonderful clown. He used to put a ferret down his trousers. Yes. And that's the American one, isn't it?
Yes, it's Paul McGann.
Yes.
And I never saw an episode, actually, of Paul McGann's, I must confess.
But he didn't do an episode.
Did he not? He did a film.
I think he did a film. He did
yes,
a film,
of course it was.
He did a film, yeah.
I didn't see the film.
No, hardly anybody did. I mean, apparently there's a kind of society of the 211 people who did see the film. But they're thinning out, yes. Apparently they're dying rapidly of disappointment, yes.
Oh dear. £10.25 pence. Let's move on through. Top of the Daleks. The real Daleks sell for an absolute fortune now, don't they? An absolute fortune.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
May I ask if you have one yourself?
No, I don't know.
Oh,
but you know, I have good memories of them there. But I mean, you know, big horror. Yeah, people adore, you know, horror things, don't they? Being frightened. I mean, tomorrow opens the biggest frightening film of the year, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Maybe of the decade. And so people will go in there, millions, to watch a Ridley Scott movie with Anthony Hopkins eating people, because it's a terrific performance, because, as you know, he doesn't really eat people because he's a vegetarian, but he knocks them out.
You spoiled it for me now.
Have I?
I really thought he did.
Well,
I thought that was his way of life.
You
oh, well.
Know.
£10.25 pence. So ahead of its time, Doctor Who. So ahead of its time.
Yes, it was.
Genius of a brain behind it somewhere.
Ah, well, I didn't know about a genius. It was a kind of happy accident, you know, that the script came, the great Verity Lambert produced, the first producer, and it just took off, didn't it, because there was nothing like it, and it was cheap. You know, there were no big special effects that cost lots of money.
But the simplicity of Doctor Who, I think that's what made it, for me, so believable.
Yeah, but
it
that's
wasn't
because,
flyaway special effects.
That's because it gave you, as a viewer, the children were allowed a lot of imaginative responsibility. It wasn't all spelled out for them, you know, it was strange and sometimes scary and sometimes very silly, like life. And the children just responded to all that. Because, I mean, the children love being frightened when they know really that I'm going to win, don't they? And it was very popular with grannies, you see, grandmothers, because when the children were frightened, the children would bury their heads in their grannies' bosoms. And the grannies used to like me for that, you know, because when I was walking through Sloane Square, a granny would approach and she'd see me and her titties would start to tingle and she wouldn't know why, and then she'd recognize me, and then she would want to hold me to her bosoms. I came across some very affectionate grannies. Yeah.
Arguably the best job you've had in the world, I think.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you about this. £24. Was K9 yours or was K9 before you?
No. He came in while I was there, with John Leeson doing the voice.
Yes.
Because we didn't rehearse with the dog. We rehearsed with John Leeson. And that was very exciting and wonderful and funny, yeah. You know, it was all my time, yeah. Did it go on after me?
I can't remember.
I can't
See,
remember
I don't know now, because you were the Doctor I grew up with.
Yeah.
And then that was it for me. I think...
maybe it went on afterwards for a while, yes. But yes, it came into me at K9. And children liked the pun, didn't they? You know, K9, K9. And they used to ask me what I used to eat and things like that, you know. And sometimes when we were filming, John could hear me because I was mic'd up. and he'd be in a scanner wagon, you know, and I'd be talking to the dog, and I'd be able to talk to the dog then about anything because John could pick it up, you know. And so and also I knew that he did crosswords. So sometimes I'd be doing a crossword, and I'd say to K9, what do you think one of cross is, K9? And he'd look at it and say, scrambled eggs, master. And the children around, you know, used to absolutely faint with delight. Yes, John was very good indeed. Good.
Wonderful character. Let's have a look at what you get for your money. Here is option number 2, which we've actually popped my producer's mobile phone into, and she assures me she now cannot get the covers off. Well, there's a surprise. And here, of course, is the back too. Isn't that great?
It is,
great,
yeah. I think I should have one of those, don't you?
Have you got this mobile phone?
No, I haven't. I was just looking at mine, actually. In fact, I've just switched it off in case it were... Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's the right one.
So I could put that cover on it, yeah.
You've got the right one. You've got the 32... Is this the 3210? 3310, I beg your pardon. This is the one I've got, 3310. Let's just put them side by side. Yeah, we'll change that over for you.
All right, yeah, that's great, yeah. And then also I can put the Doctor Who music on it for when it goes.
Of course you can.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, or I could put a Dalek on.
You don't want to frighten people away?
No, but the Dalek could cry, answer the phone, answer the... yes, whatever it is, yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
You're happy with this, aren't you?
I am with this, yes, I am.
So you're genuinely going to use this?
Yeah, I am.
OK, now look at this. Bear this in mind. As used by Tom Baker's mobile phone, this case here. There's a thought. I want one now. And also, Blue Peter. Weren't you part of the Blue Peter show?
Well, no, I wasn't part of the Blue Peter show, except, you know, they were often talking about Doctor Who, weren't they all talking
and
about...
did behind the scenes.
That's right, yeah, that's right, yes, that's right, yeah.
I think we had K9 on Blue Peter.
Yeah,
yes.
Or was Valerie Singleton, was she one of the girls? I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, there were an awful lot of girls went through Doctor Who. Doctor Who went through an awful lot of girls. No,
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, there were a lot of girls.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, there were lots of them.
Really was quite a tragic part of your career, this, wasn't it? Let's go to the phone lines and talk to Janice, who's on the line to chat to us this evening. Hi, Janice, good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Very well indeed. You're through to Tom. Have you got a question for him?
Yes, I have, yes. Hello,
Can you hear
Tom.
Janice? Hi, Janet.
It's wonderful to speak to you.
It's wonderful to be spoken to, Janet.
We have your novel, the Who on Earth is Tom Baker, which we thought was great.
Yes.
Main thing we wanted to ask you was really about your wonderful scarf. Who actually knitted it for you?
It was knitted by a woman called Begonia Pope. That's who lives in West London, and she had never been asked to do anything by the BBC. And Jim Atchison, who's now a big international designer, gave her the colour scheme. And we didn't know about wool, so we sent down, it being the BBC, we sent down 2 lorry loads full of wool.
Oh, right.
And this darling woman, Begonia Pope, never working for the BBC, it went to her head. And a fortnight later we went down there, and she'd knitted up all this wool, 2 truckloads of wool. You know, which then, so it was fitting. She hadn't had a meal since she started knitting because there was no room. And when we got there, Jim said, leave it long like that, leave it long. And we'll take it.
Yeah. Did you actually ever fall over it?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And it was considered terribly funny when no action for people to stand on it, yeah, so that I could fall over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all part of the thing. And it was so silly, wasn't it? You know, you said you had one. And children, you sometimes fell over and twisted their ankles and everything, but it didn't stop them.
No, no.
It was just a lovely extension of...
It was cult fashion.
That's right, it was.
Everybody wanted your scarf.
It was.
Mum,
and I think it was a bit fashionable last year for a while. There were references to those multicoloured scarves, yes. Yeah. It was a great thing, and now it's in a museum.
Is it really?
Yeah, yeah. And I'm going to join it one day.
My daughter Danielle thinks K9 is pucker. That's these words they use these days. But you can actually buy one for 1,000 if you like. Full size.
I'll have 2.
Yeah.
I don't think she'll be getting one of those.
That's good.
There should be a radio-controlled K9 to buy. The's got to be one somewhere. If not, they've got to invent it. Great idea.
Yeah.
Janice, thank you so much for your call. It has been a pleasure working with you. What are you up to at the moment, by the way? You're filming, aren't you?
Yes, I'm filming with Randall and Hopkins deceased with Reeves and Mortimer. And I'm just about to start on the 39 Steps for the BBC radio. That's a big radio production, yeah.
Tom, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Grew up with you. Let me shake your hand again. And I'll sort out your mobile phone in just a moment. I'm back on Saturday. Dale is up next. Take